So if I could put it a little more graphically to you, one of my favorite authors, a guy by the name of Steve Pressfield, wrote a book called Turning Pro. And what he said, he says there's a big difference in life between being an amateur and being a professional. And what he said is this, is the amateur talks about the business they want to build. They talk about the weight they want to lose. They talk about the book they want to write, but they never quite get around to it. Why? That's right, we talked about it in the last chapter, is because of distractions and addictions that get in the way. Now the truth of it is we all have addictions and distractions, but the difference between the pro and the amateur is the pro comes to a point of decision and says, that's it, I'm going to get down, I'm going to get the work done. I know this could be you as a parent, could be you in your business, could be you with your health, could be you with your income, doesn't make any difference. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to think about this for a second and take a look at your life from the position of amateur or pro. Where in your life are you being an amateur? Where are you being a pro? Where in your life do you have all that resistance, all those things that are getting in the way, the text messages, the emails, the errand running, the gossiping, all of the things that get in the way? And where have you made a decision to go pro? So for example, what I'm going to ask you to do now is to take your notebook and turn to the section on overcoming procrastination section. And just below that, we're going to talk about amateur and pro. So here are a couple questions I want you to answer. Number one, where are you being an amateur? Now think about that for a second. Where are you being an amateur? Maybe with your health, you're going out to the gym, you're disciplined, you're being a pro in that area because you're really disciplined. But as with your kids, maybe you're not spending the time. Maybe you talk to your friends about how to have a great relationship, but you're not really doing it yourself. Pressfield says in his book, the minute you turn pro, it's like Pearl Harbor Day. It's like September 11th. It's a major day that you never forget. For me, turning pro as a father happened at 10,600 feet on the side of Mount Kilimanjaro just this last year when I took my 17-year-old up there, and he got so sick that he had to come back down the mountain. And he had to abort the climb, and I was faced with the decision, do I go down with him or do I continue the climb and then meet him afterwards? And it was a tough decision for about 30 seconds, but remember we talked about earlier the code of honor? Made a decision. We start this mission together, we finish it together, never abandon a teammate in need. And even though my heart was in two places, went down the mountain with him. 17 hours he was unconscious with fluids flowing into his system. And when he woke up, I was lying there next to him. And a rooster woke us up in this little third world country at about 5 in the morning. And I remember looking over, he saw me, I saw him. He smiled. I knew I had made the right decision. That day, I turned pro as a father. Up until then, I was an amateur, talking the role, but not really committed to it. So I want you to, right now, like I said, write down, I would like take some time and fill out where are you being an amateur in your life. Number two question, who around you, who are the people around you that are amateurs or pro, and why? In all areas of your life. The reason I want you to do this is decide who are you hanging around with. Are you hanging around with a lot of wannabes? Are you hanging around with a lot of amateurs that are talking about it? Or are you hanging around with people that really have made the decision to move on with their lives and follow their calling? Who are the people around you? Make a list and why. Third question, I want you to take some time and figure out where are the distractions in your life? What are the addictions and distractions that are stopping you from getting what you want done? Look, for me, I teach all over the world, 25, 30 different countries, I told you that. But one of the problems is I teach so much that I don't build the business that I need to build sometimes. So actually teaching for me is a distraction. You know, answering my emails is an addiction. Make a list of those. And then finally, the last question, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What do you feel your calling is? What is it that you do? We're going to cover this in a minute. What is it that you do really well, that you love doing, that you think you would like to spend your life doing? And what are those areas that you want to have for yourself? Make a list. Remember, if it's in your head, just an idea. When you write it down, it's real. Make this list, come back to this list again and again, and most importantly, as you're doing this in your workbook, be honest. Don't make it up. Right now is the time to be real. And your little voice goes, what's this got to do with anything? Just trust the process. Remember, tell it to shut up, stop, whatever, and stay with the process. It's time for you to be pro. You've been an amateur long enough. You've been a rookie long enough. It's time to go pro and to make that decision. And I'm going to show you how to do that in another section.